Hi, my name is Jarek Fontaine, and I'm running for State Senate in District 10 in Maine. I wanted to make a video because I was concerned about a recent poll that came out that showed that Republicans are actually more trusted by Americans in regards to the economy. I was a Republican for a long time because I believed that their ideas were correct, that if we reduce taxes and regulations, it would spur economic growth. And that people's great ideas, innovation, and would reward hard work, would create wealth that all society would benefit from. And that was my idea, and that's kind of like the Republican message. What we've seen is that the Republican reality doesn't hold up to its great image, and that it clearly has failed the American people. A 1966 Time article, I kind of remember thumbing through, showed that the biggest problem Americans would have is that they'd have too much leisure time. That with the increases of productivity because of robotics, the information age, cheaper energy, that things would get much better for the average working person, and that we would be living a life of leisure. And then instead of working 40 hours a week to be able to have a middle class existence, we'd be working 10 hours a week. Of course, we see that notion is absurd today. Many families are working 60, 70 hours just to make it through. And the question is what happened? Why have we become more productive than we've ever been in human history right now this year than ever, and yet why is the middle class still sinking? Why are working people still struggling to make ends meet? And the answer is quite simple. Because of right-wing policies. Take unions, for example. As we see, unions membership has decreased. A percentage of income, national income of wages has decreased along with it, trending with it. What that tells me is that businesses don't want to give their employees raises, and that the only way to get paid more is to fight for it. And that means that regular working people have to get together and have to strong-arm businesses to pay them what they're worth. Because we are creating and producing and innovating more than ever before, and yet a very small sliver of our society is enjoying the fruits of our labors, of our work. That doesn't seem right to me. And that doesn't work for this country, because small businesses, I see a lot of small businesses supporting Republican policies, and they're against the minimum wage because they're afraid that it will increase prices. And yet what small businesses don't understand, business owners that support Republicans don't understand, is that their customers need money in their pockets. So the more wages they have, the more they can patronize those small businesses. That's what we need. We need a strong middle class to support consumers, to support the consumer demand. I mean, that's where jobs come from. It's all about demand. And I'm going to give you an example. I went to Subway in Bangor a week ago, and I saw 4 people filling sandwiches and working their butts off. That's 4 jobs right there that place needed to hire. It was a pretty small store. I went to a Subway in Dover Foxcroft, and there was 1 person there working at the counter doing sandwiches. And what's the difference? What's the difference between a place that has 1 job and a place that has 4 jobs? Okay? The difference was demand. There were more people in Bangor buying Subway sandwiches. And there were less people in Dover Foxcroft buying Subway sandwiches. This tells me something important, that jobs are not a result of tax cuts. They are consumer demand. Now the question is if I give a $1 billion tax break to the very top, are they going to go out and buy millions of sandwiches? No. So they're not going to create any jobs whatsoever. But if we give tax breaks to regular working people, people who make under $100,000 a year, will they go out and create jobs with their demand? Of course they will. They will buy sandwiches. They will buy pillows. They will buy manufacturing. Manufacturing goods. Another problem we have is free trade. Free trade has killed America, and Maine has never really gotten away from that because we were very much a manufacturing company with the Bates Mills, and Rumford and up in Millinocket, and we're seeing massive closures of that. Manufacturing has died simply because of how warped our economy has become, because we're shipping jobs overseas. And the question is, why are we shipping jobs overseas? And the answer is quite simple. Because we have a tax code that allows it. We have free trade agreements that make it easy for companies to do. These other countries are poor, illiterate, desperate for jobs, and are willing to turn their rivers brown and their skies black. They have their people get sick, have their children die of diseases. These people are willing to endure that so that I can have a cheap-made stereo. And that's a high price to pay. I don't know how long these other countries can do that, because as you can see, China actually has a serious clean water shortage. Thankfully, we don't have that, but we could if we continue on the way we're going. So Republican policies killed the middle class by shipping jobs overseas. And how did that happen? How did we have an artificial currency that was trading much above its essential value? And the answer is the dollar oil cartel. Now, back in 1971, when Richard Nixon decoupled the dollar from gold, he coupled it to something else, oil. And the question is all these Middle Eastern countries, people are saying, we're not fighting these wars for oil, because we're not buying any of the oil. It's mostly Europe. Yeah, that's true. So then how is it a war for oil? Well, the answer is quite simple. Countries sell their oil in dollars. In order to get their dollars, other nations have to buy American goods or American government debt. Notice why there's continuous demand for American government debt, even though it's essentially junk today, if you were really to look at the fundamentals. And the answer is because we create artificial demand, because we are the world reserve currency. That has been a curse, because it has wiped out our middle class, because we have artificially crashed all the other countries, because what we're doing is we're exporting our inflation and importing other nations' deflation. I'll give you an example. Say China wants to buy oil. They sell us cheap goods and buy our debt, and they get dollars. They take those dollars and they buy from a Saudi Arabian dictator and the Iranian Ayatollahs. And so we actually hurt our industries, because they're able to actually artificially push their currency down and bump our currency up. They're waging a trade war with us, and the Republicans aren't doing anything about it. And many Democrats aren't either. So what that tells me is that the Republicans are wrong in their economic policies, that they're killing the middle class, and that we need to save the middle class. And the only way to do it is to start local. So I hope you think about that when you vote this November, and that you vote for candidates that support tariffs, that support investing in local infrastructure in the country, that raise taxes at the very top and cut taxes on working people who are trying to make ends meet. So we can stimulate local demand, so we can create jobs, so that we don't have this severe job shortage right now, which companies love because it's pushing down wages and they're loving that. So we need to fight for working people, and that means voting for people like me. Thank you so much. I hope to see you.